Hi, everyone. Welcome to the HerKey Dialogues. My name is Ujwala, and I will be moderating today's session. I will be actually speaking to someone who I think can bring a lot of knowledge and insight into what we aim to achieve through this episode. The topic that we'll be covering today is how to overcome mother's guilt when you're planning to start working again. So, without delaying this further, let me introduce you to Sakshi Gangwani. I'm going to hand over the floor to her to tell us a little bit about her background so we can pick up from there and get right into the topic. Sakshi, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ujwala, and hello, everybody. I'd like to introduce myself before we dive deep into the topic. So here it is. I am Sakshi Gangwani. I am ICF accredited life coach. My niche is called inner anchoring. I am an energy coach. I am a communication coach. I'm a speaker, an author, and I'm currently an engagement manager with my organization, which is Vani.coach. It's a startup. And apart from all of this, I am also a single mother, which I think gives me the credibility to talk about mother's guilt, because I think guilt is the middle name for all mothers. And when it comes to single motherhood, oh God, it's the first and last and middle, every name. So I think this is why I'm here and I'm talking about it here. So yeah.
Perfect. I think I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm so happy to have you with us today discussing this very important topic. I'm hoping whoever is listening, if you do join in a little later, don't worry. You can always pick up the pieces, go back and listen to it at your own convenient time. But we're going to be covering some really important questions that I have noticed that has come up so many times, during our interactions with women. And I'm sure Sakshi yourself would have come across plenty of these questions during your coaching sessions, right? So let's dive straight into it. First up, I'd like to ask you, what are the 3 top effective strategies, right, for mothers to help them overcome this feeling of guilt when they want to actually come back to?
So I think the first and the foremost is that they understand that it's okay to prioritize your own dreams and aspirations, which we normally don't do. And I think just being aware that, the way you treat yourself is the way you treat your children to treat you. So if you have respect for your dreams and aspirations, that is when your children will also respect it. So prioritize it. And it's okay to have your dreams sans your children sometimes. It's absolutely all right. So have that awareness. Second is setting firm boundaries. That is very important. I think the biggest guilt is that, we're not able to give the kind of time we want to give to our children or our families. But here, I think the focus should be more on quality than quantity. So even if you're spending 2 hours and you're 100% present there, that is all your child needs. So set the boundaries firmly, have that work-life balance. Once you log off from work, leave everything behind, be with your child and be there 100%. Practicing mindfulness is something that really helped me. Because, right, I can be physically present, but my mind is somewhere else a lot of times. And trust me, kids get it. They get it. They'll be like, leave your phone, and they'll crave for more of your attention. So, but if you're 100% present and you're there listening to them and being with them, that is, I think that makes up for you being away for work. But those 2 hours are just about enough. So I would personally recommend that do some mindfulness activities, learn to be present, and that will help you really overcome your guilt. Last but not the least here is when you are applying for the jobs and when you are planning to re-enter the workforce and, start your career again, understand the culture of the organizations before you accept the offer or even before you apply for those jobs. the number of working days and, what kind of leave policies, what kind of flexibility they can offer you, and then take an informed decision. Because I think compromising on work-life balance is what keeps us in that loop of guilt always. So if the culture is aligned with your situation and your needs, then you go for it. So make an informed decision is what I'd say.
That's so beautifully encapsulated, right? Because I think most of these we tend to take for granted.
Yeah.
Especially the point that you said about being mindfully present.
Yes.
It's so important. It happens with me at home, right? Like, I know work is done for the day, but this is always with you, right? Why either on work or social media, you have some messages, but you can tell from the child's face that they're not fully happy with you being present there, right? So that's one aspect, which is great. So I think quality versus quantity for sure.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up. I think it's a very important lesson. I was just thinking about it when you spoke that a kid doesn't expect you to be sitting in school with her, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not required for that part of their life.
Absolutely.
Same for you when you're at work. You don't need to think that you're constantly under pressure to be with your child or what the child is thinking about you. I am 100% sure they're not thinking about you when you're at work because they enjoy that space because they know. So that's great. Like for whoever is watching, if this resonates with you, right? Like go back and think about your schedule, what you do, how you can change it a little bit, because the idea of this session is to give you all a little bit of a push. Maybe you're already doing it, but you've forgotten it somewhere along the way. But these little things matter, so keep that in mind.
And I'd like to pitch in, I'm sorry, Ujjwala, I'm cutting you short, but I really want to appreciate that one thing that you mentioned about space. Trust me, you cannot expect your child to bloom if you're 24/7 with your child. Because as parents, we tend to be overprotective. And I think every child deserves that little space to actually explore, experiment, discover, and learn. And I think that time away is actually a very productive time for you and for your child. So instead of having guilt around it, if we look at it like probably a place and a space where your child is actually growing and learning and becoming more independent, I think that is also a very important point that will keep your guilt at bay. So yeah.
Correct. Absolutely. Being at peace with what is happening with your kid and with yourself, I think is most important.
Yeah.
So thank you, because it's a first step for you to even start thinking about going back to work.
Absolutely.
Right? If you're not comfortable with that, you won't probably be able to manage everything else that will come along with the work schedule. So, which brings me to the next important topic that I find is discussed all over, debated everywhere, but we're still coming back to the same all the time: time management. It's easier said than done, and probably each of us has our own ways of managing time. But what are your thoughts on it? Like top tips, practical tips that we can take.
See, practically, I think for anyone who's planning to step back and come back to the workplace and return back and step into their career journeys again, you have to first of all train yourself. There's a certain amount of drill that is required because you're so used to having so much of time in hand. Whether it's productive or not, that's different, but you need a little bit of a drill. So I believe that to begin with, block a few hours in your day, maybe 1 hour or 2 hours of a day, and use this time exclusively to upskill yourself or reskill yourself. So there's a certain amount of seriousness that will come. And again, this is a very good boundary setting activity for you and your family, because you're always available for them, usually when you're not working. So now if you block like 2 hours or 3 hours and they know they cannot disturb you, so they'll also get used to you being away. So blocking that time and using this time till the time you actually step out and join your work Use this to upskill yourself, block these 2 hours, use this me time to learn something new, and also use this me time to train your child that this time mom is not available. So that's the first step. It's a slow weaning process, actually. Instead of just instantly snipping off the cord, I think there's a slow weaning that is required here. Second is, I think we all need to break free from that bubble of superwoman typing, which we all very, very proudly carry. Everyone puts us on a pedestal and we carry it and we wear that cape like, it's a medal, but actually it's not. We don't have superpowers. Our capacity of taking responsibility is as limited as any other human. So delegate work and build a supporting network around you is again a very important step here. That is when you'll be able to manage your time. If you tend to stick to that label, then you want to do everything on your own because you're a superwoman, right? Everyone calls you that, she can do so much, she can multitask. I am not. I'm shameless and I say I'm not a superwoman. So be shameless and, just delegate your work. It's absolutely okay. Sharing responsibility would not make you a bad mother. Please believe me when I say this. So delegate and build a support network. The last is maintain a to-do list. Being mothers and, handling so much, there are chances that, you're not able to prioritize things properly. And especially when you're not in a habit of, stepping out of house, having a job, working. And when you're preparing yourself, start preparing yourself with a to-do list. Prioritize your tasks of the day. And you can use Google Calendar. That's the easiest to plan your day. Block the calendars wherever it's required. And you can also set up your tasks as reminders on the calendar. That will bring in some process to your entire day's madness. So start training yourself with these simple steps, and that will really help you manage your time well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think two very important points that I noted in my mind is when we speak about mother's guilt, people tend to think it's only about the kids. But I like how you said, draw your boundaries so everybody knows your schedule. So it's literally like you're not just a mother to a child, but you're also looking at the other factors around you that will be affected, right? And that's so important in our, at least in our Indian culture. I think it's so prevalent that it's hard to say, okay, I have taken care of my kid, now I can go and do whatever I want. It's never like that. So absolutely, boundaries are so essential. It might hurt a lot in the beginning, but to stick your ground, I think it's so important. The second point is calendarization. I mean, I know a lot of you who are watching will say like, what? Why will I calendarize personal tasks? But my God, it helps.
It does.
It actually helps for your own self to say, I have so many things to do, not to show anyone else, right? But that's so great because a lot of us think that putting down calendar events are only for work.
Yeah.
But if you imagine if you do that for your personal life as well, my God, I mean, that's how I think women who have made it to the top have actually made it to the top because of all these little, tips and tricks and practical details consistently that you do, So thank you for bringing that up. I'm hoping that whoever's watching here, maybe you're cooking, maybe you're, doing the laundry as you're watching this, as you're listening to this, but let it sink in and give yourself time. Like you said, it's a slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. So please take these tips very seriously because it is coming from a coach and from someone who's been in the field for a while now. So thank you for that, Sakshi. Now, having been at HerKey for over 6.5 years, right? Like I have come across so many women who have similar problems, but the way they look at it is completely different. So having said that, how can each of these women take control or start preparing for this career comeback? I know that time management is one, drawing a boundary is another, but I'm looking for like practical steps that whoever is watching right now can say, hey, I can do this now and start now. Anything that you can give us?
So there are a couple of steps actually, Ujjwala. I think I would like to start with something where I have personally come across a lot of women who have a lot of questions around their relevance in the industry. Once, there's a sabbatical and you're planning to come back, you just don't find your validation. You question your existence, you question your identity, and then you want to understand, are you even relevant? And these are valid questions in our fast-paced culture today. So I would personally say that the moment you decide that you want to step back and make a career comeback, first thing you need to do is upskill and reskill yourself. I've mentioned it before also. I'm mentioning it here again because this is extremely important for you to build that confidence to step back and step out again. It gives you some credibility, and that credibility you just need for yourself. It kind of puts you in that drill and grill that, okay, now I'm ready. And it gives you that additional boost. And these upskilling, reskilling certifications, these are now available very, very easily. You can go on Upgrad, you can use Udemy, you can have any of these, you can use any of these platforms. But yes, it brings you back into the work mode. And I think that is why it's required. Second thing, I have mentioned it before, I'm going to mention it again because this is extremely important, building that support group. Now, be it your family, be it your friends, or even if you have to hire a help, all of these plannings you need to do before you step out. Without this support, it's not really possible for you to sustain your career. So the more we stress upon it, the less it is. But talk to them, ask for help. If unfortunately you don't have that kind of support from your spouse or your family, again, hire a help. But or maybe, talk to a few of your friends who can probably pitch in when you need them. But this is essential. Third, I think the practical step is that you start networking on LinkedIn or your other social media handles and post relevant content as per, your job requirement, and, expand your reach. Get in touch with people who are already in the field doing the same kind of work and network with them, understand what is working for them currently. That will also prepare you. So LinkedIn is my favorite platform, and that's what I'm going to tell you to do because that's what I did, honestly. I think the fourth would be update your resume as per the latest format. That is also very important. So check Google, check with other people. As I'm saying, when you network with working professionals who are working with their work is relevant to your work, ask them what is working, what is not working, what kind of resumes are currently, working. So update your CV for sure. Use the keywords from the JD, just go through the job descriptions. Again, LinkedIn is a great platform. Even before applying, just do your R&D there. Just kind of see what kind of job postings are there, what kind of job descriptions the recruiters are posting, and use those keywords in your resumes. That will really help, for your resume to stand out when you actually plan to apply for these jobs. The last point that I'm going to talk about here is just be open to the different kind of job opportunities. To begin with, consider remote, consider part-time jobs also, to again put yourself out there. Putting yourself out there is extremely important. So don't be rigid that, I'm looking for just this. Right now, to begin with, and to see what is working for you, because your situation has changed. I'm sure after taking the sabbatical, your life is not the same as it used to be earlier. So as per that, you will also get the correct understanding what is working for you, what is not working for you. So be open to the different kinds of job opportunities and maybe try with something which is remote to begin with and then make a switch. But yeah, this is what I would suggest.
Yeah, I have to, like, literally, you've just pointed out the most important aspects of making sure you're out there and ready to get back.
Yeah.
Resume for sure. It can be intimidating. I think I met someone who actually said, I was so scared to update my resume that I didn't apply anywhere, but I was forced to, because that's the way it works, right? You have to make the first step and then everything will fall in place. I know you stressed so much on support, support systems to help you out. It takes a village for sure. To sustain, I like the word you use there, right? It's not just about coming back to work, but to sustain yourself there. Takes a lot of background work, to have done. So thank you for bringing those up. I honestly believe that upskilling, though, has been really taken for granted. We know it's required, but we somehow don't get to doing it because we have these great ideas, or rather, we think it's not possible, like unattainable, right? But there are so many. In fact, we at HerKey have so many programs for women who are coming back to work. It's literally a 6-month, 4 weeks program, I think, actually. So please go ahead, sign up for, courses that help you further your career dream, and get talking. I think having those conversations are so important. So thank you for covering those so beautifully in such a short time. I know I wanted to ask you a lot about networking and support system, which you've already covered. The importance of not just family, but friends and, other people that you would like to reach out to. But I will ask you a little bit about, maybe dig into your own experiences or how you've started, in your career. How does, like, this positive mindset, and self-compassion, that, like, this is all, like you said, I'm not super mom, I'm not a superhuman, I've done what I could, right? So how do you cultivate this mindset and this just overcome your guilt to to come back to work?
I think self-compassion again is a process, honestly. It's not like one morning I decide and I'm going to be compassionate towards myself, because we are, as women, especially if we are from Indian origin, we're always made to keep ourselves at the lowest in the priority list. It's always about others. It's always about making people happy. It's always about what will they like and what can I do to fix them. So we are fixers by nature. And that fixer mindset also comes in parenting. How can I fix it for my child? And I think it all comes with constantly re-educating yourself and telling yourself and being aware of the fact that there is no such thing as perfect parenting. It's a myth. We don't get any formal education on parenting. We all learn on the job. And because we are learning on the job, we are going to make mistakes. And I think it's very important for you to be okay and make peace with the fact that, yes, I am going to make mistakes. But as long as I'm learning from my mistakes, I'm doing fine as a mom. I mean, there are so many times when I've actually, I hate to say this, but then it has happened that, I've just screamed at my child for no reason. And immediately when there is this realization, I have gone up to him, sat with him, apologized very, very sincerely that I'm sorry, I had this stress. And just because right now you irritated me, it just came out on you. It was not about you. So I think having that open conversation and being okay with saying sorry, that yes, I make mistakes because I'm human too. There's so much on my mind that I'd end up sometimes doing stupid things. So you and me, we're not really very different. So you will do mistakes and I'll do mistakes. So bring them, have a very friendly conversation and make them okay with the fact that you are not a superwoman. Again, I'm saying that, and you're not a perfect parent. It's absolutely all right. So let's not put ourselves on that pedestal, so that our children also realize that, our parents are just like us. And stepping down from that pedestal is, I think, is a first step towards self-compassion. So step down and hold yourself in compassion. It's absolutely all right. And I think when it comes to cultivating the positive mindset, I think having the reality check that a happy mother can only raise a happy child. If you're not a happy mother, there is no way that you can raise a happy child. And that should keep you in the positive mindset. That should keep you positive in life, because what usually happens is that in your overcompensation and in your kind of way of trying to fix things for your child, you keep putting yourself behind, and then you become a very unhappy person. And that unhappiness gets absorbed by your child. So, why it is important to prioritize your dreams? Again, I'm coming to that, Ryan. The only reason, again, you need to prioritize yourself and your dreams is because if you're happy, your child will be happy. No matter how old they get, you will always be the source of energy for your child. And you will be always the source from which they derive their life energy. So if you're happy, that will keep your child happy. So I would personally say, make a pros and cons sheet, document what is there in your mind, and kind of see what are the benefits of returning to work and what are the challenges you're going to face. And then I would suggest revisit your challenges. And along with those challenges, now you have to write that, what can I do to overcome these challenges? What is it that I can do to resolve this particular issue? If there is something that I can do, so this will put you, instead of a lack mindset, immediately there's going to be a shift towards growth mindset, that you will be in the energy of doing now. Yes, I do see the challenge. How can I overcome it? So there is going to be a positive shift there also. So documentation, journaling really, really helps. So I would personally suggest you should do it, because that will bring in a lot of clarity, and it will actually ease the chaos of your mind. Once it's there on paper, it eases out the chaos of your mind. So this is what I would personally suggest. This is how you should begin with, at least.
Yeah, as you kept saying these things, all these bulbs went off in my head, right? Because it's exactly what happens every single day with children, yourself. Growth mindset is so important. Writing down things. If you're listening, please. I know it's a very celebrated, way of doing, or maybe winding down. I know we have fancy names for it, but it literally just means to take up a piece of paper and write your thoughts. Most often, like you say, when you go back and read it, maybe you don't feel those things anymore.
Exactly.
Exactly. And that's so powerful, because it's there and you can see it, and you know that that's not true. So then it's literally like taking a piece of your mind and just chucking whatever is not required. That is so great. I mean, that's a tip that I think all of us should follow, regardless of whether we want to come back to work or not. To just like literally write down your thoughts to eliminate negativity. That is so true. Which brings me to another very important point that we have seen, at least through all our interactions with women. They find it very difficult to actually have these conversations with people at home. Maybe they're able to deal with the kid somehow, because they know how the child works. But it's when they have to have these discussions, conversations with their spouse, with their parents, in-laws. How, like, is there, I know again, it's not a one size fits all kind of a strategy, but any advice or tips that maybe women can use to ease out this conversation?
I think honesty is the key, honestly. Having an open communication, and to be very clear with why you want to go back to work. Why do you want to return? And the most important thing here to remember is that during these conversations, the focus should be on how would it make you feel. The focus should be on your feelings. Why do you feel you need to go? Instead of, focusing on why did I leave work? And sometimes those can be very tricky conversations. That can be also accusational that, I did not get the right kind of support, so I had to leave work, but now it is the time. All of it is very, very accusational. So yes, there was a choice made. Now that is over. How are you feeling right now? Just talk about your feelings. Why? How do you feel by not working? How would you going back to work make you feel? Talk about those, because when you talk about how does a certain thing makes you feel, your conversation becomes non-accusation. It just becomes about you. And when it becomes about you, the chances of the other person becoming defensive are very, very low. So imagine me telling you it's because of you I had to stop working. How would be the response at that particular moment? The chances that the person's going to be very defensive, and it may just end up being a huge blown out argument. But if you just say that I miss going out and working for myself, I miss that ambition and that those aspirations I had about my life and my career, and I just don't feel relevant enough. I just feel that what I'm doing right now is a thankless job and I want to do something more productive. You're just talking about feelings. The person agrees or not is secondary. At least it's not going to lead into an argument. So talk about your feelings very, very honestly. And it's easier than anything else, I think. If you actually put your mind to it, and if you just sit and you start talking about it, this conversation is going to be much easier than telling somebody that what did they not do right. So that's one thing. Second point that I want to say here is that a lot of times children are taken for granted. That, oh, it's okay, the child is going to adjust. No, it's no big deal. Grandparents are there, father is there, or whoever is there. And by the time I'm going to be back, the child will just get up from the nap, and it's not really going to be a big deal. So you exclude the children from these conversations, and that is the biggest mistakes parents can do. I personally feel when it comes to children, the best thing that you can do is keep your parenting style inclusive. Talk about it, talk to them and share your feelings, and tell and share your feelings in a way your child understands it as per their age. But have conversations. Tell them that mama is going to step out for work, but by the time your day is going to be over, you'll wake up from a nap, mom is going to be back home. So have conversations. Do not assume things, because your assumptions will lead to your child assuming something else, and you would not even know what they're assuming in your absence. And they're not old enough sometimes to articulate it also. So when you talk about it and when you open up, they also will open up. They will also share their doubts and share their fears. And once you know their doubts and fear, only then you'll be able to resolve them. So do not exclude your children from these conversations, even before you step out, even while you're planning to. Prepare them while you're preparing yourself. That when mama goes to work, this is how long she's not going to be with you, but this is the time we're going to spend with each other. So handle it in a way where they are well prepared, rather than, doing it and then assuming that the child will adjust to the new routine. So yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. Like literally having a hold on yourself doesn't mean you have to control everything else around you.
Yeah.
It means that you need to give them the space to say back to you what they feel, which is like rightly, like you said, opening up that channel of communication is so important, right? Because like you said, it's very easy to say, if I say this, they might say something else, and therefore, what will I do? So we've already created this negative environment in our mind. So I think that needs to stop. So please, if you're our watching this and you're looking for some kind of confidence to go back and talk to people about it, please do.
Yeah.
Because there is really no easy way out. Maybe that is the easiest way out.
Yeah.
Once you've done it, if you've put it the right way, please take the time, think about it. Thank you for bringing that up, Sakshi. It's really so important to make sure they understand you as much as you understand them, right?
Yeah.
I know you've already spoken about boundaries, but sometimes, I feel like these boundaries don't have to be exactly for your work. Let's say, like you say, keep one hour aside for, I don't know, upskilling. Could we draw the same boundaries? Like, let's say I'm going to cook between 5 and 7, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Or I'm going to sit with you for your homework between 4 and 5, and that's it. So do these actually work, or how can women actually incorporate these in their daily lives?
So as I said, I think blocking your calendar is the easiest way of managing your day. And it may look like, oh, why do I need to do it? But it's very important. If you need to, as I said, bring in a little bit of process in your life and make it a little meticulous and organized, this is very important. You have to value your own time. It's as simple as that. If I have to cook, I cook once a day. I don't go in the kitchen like twice, thrice. I'm going to cook for 2 hours, and in those 2 hours, I'm going to cook the lunch. I'll prepare for the dinner, last minute things, whatever that is there, like that can happen just before the dinner. But my major work's done. So that is me valuing my time, irrespective of the fact that I am working or I'm not working. Even if you're not working, you need to anyways take out time, which we call very famously as me time now. It's extremely important, no matter how cliche it may sound, but it is extremely important, because you completely lose yourself. Women especially completely lose themselves to the families, to the children. And trust me, by the time a lot of women struggle with their own identity, by the children are grown up and they finish schools, and then they have their own life and they take off. So that's an emptiness syndrome, that now I have nothing else to do because the epicenter of my life is gone. So that is why, if you start from today, you know what time you wake up, you know what time you need to hit the bed. In between of that, if you scatter your day with different tasks and block your calendar, put the reminders on, that will really set the right tone for you and your family members. And it will also give you so much time in the day to do your own things. So that's setting boundaries again. And when we talk about boundaries at work, as you said, that it is so difficult, it truly is. Because with the notifications keep beeping and, our phones constantly ringing, it's actually very difficult to snap off. One tip that I give people is that I did it and it helped me. So I'm just sharing my experience. I've kept 2 phones. If you can do that, please do it. Keep one phone for work, one phone, which is your personal. Do not sync your official email with your personal phone. Do not do that. And keep your work phone on silent the moment you log off. The messages will still come, but you can visit them when you have to. And that is your way of setting the boundary. If it's something extremely crucial and you're aware of it, then you always have that option to take it up, but at least set the tone right. If you're always available, then you're always made to be available. So that setting boundary needs to come with your own respect for your time. So use the Google Calendar. It's the easiest. And the Google should pay me for endorsing them.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, this is such a valuable tip. And if you're watching this and you feel like, why would I have a Google Calendar on my phone when all I'm doing all day is laundry and maybe cooking or homework or whatever it is, but calendarizing, like you said, will prep you for what is ahead of you, right? For you to sink into a work environment also is very important for you to prep a lot before that. So my last question to you though, Sakshi, is that we spoke about how we need to articulate to everybody around in the family about, our thoughts about getting back to work. If there is somebody else watching this video, let's say a husband or a brother or sibling, or whoever it is in the family who's watching this video, what advice would you give the families then to be able to embrace this change? Any tips that families can be supportive of the work that mothers do?
See, I truly believe that it just takes about two people to make a child, and it takes an army to raise one. And that's why I think when it comes to mothers, the most important thing is that their children are in a safe space. And that safe space also keeps their children happy. And I think that is what a mother really needs. And that is the only support that you all can provide. So if families are watching it, I think it's very difficult for a woman to anyways, I think at birth, the umbilical cord gets cut, which is the physical umbilical cord, but the energetic cord that is always there. And it's very difficult for a mother to actually take that decision and create that distance between her and her child when she plans to step out. And at that time, she needs a lot of support. And I think why just the families? I think there is a mutual admiration, mutual support, which is required. So women should also talk it out, appreciate the support that they're getting and be vocal about it. And families should also appreciate, be open, talk about it, because a lot gets lost in assumptions. I love her so much, it's there, no, she knows it. No, she doesn't, she wants you to show it. So show her in your actions, no? Pitch in wherever she needs, wherever you find her struggling, just tell her that I'm there, just, go, it's okay. It's going to be taken care of. And trust me, being a woman, I know women, they will overcompensate when the time comes. They'll make sure that, they give you the right support, the kind of support you give and more when you would need it. So it's very mutual for any healthy family. I think that is very important. It's not about making it transactional, but even unconditional love comes with a few conditions. So I think the more we embrace that thought, the better it is.
My God, you couldn't have ended that on a better note, right? With unconditional love. Oh my God, it's going to be stuck somewhere on my wall because it's essential. It's essential to know and to acknowledge it. So thank you for bringing out these amazing aspects that probably no one would have thought about, because we're all going about minding our own business, our day-to-day work at home. But if you're watching this, guys, please take some time off. We all know it's stressful either to be constantly at home or to be constantly at work, and then to be able to juggle the two. But I think with all these amazing points that Sakshi has really spoken to us out of experience, it's the right beginning. And as long as you take the first step, I think you're covered. That confidence needs to come from within you. Thank you so much for joining us today with all the amazing advice and the tips and practical day-to-day changes in your routine that can actually help make a long-term impact. Thank you so much. Any last words to our women watching you today before we go?
Thank you for having me, Ujjwala. It was absolute pleasure talking to you about it. It's something very close to my heart, and having dealt with it, I think it's important to put the words out there. One last word that I want to tell everyone who's watching this is that being a woman is not about making choices between either or. And we're kind of conditioned to do that. So either I can be a mother or I can have a flourishing career. Either I can do this or I can do that. It's not about either or. You can truly have it all. It's just that you need to believe in yourself, break these limiting beliefs that you will have to choose between the two things. Just be greedy. It's okay to be greedy for the good things in life and be unapologetic and ask for it. And I think the universe will provide you the right kind of opportunities if you put it out right there and you believe in yourself, is what I'd like to say towards the end of this conversation.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's all we needed to hear. Like, if that's what you're wanting to be like listening to, I know you've been scrolling social media and there are so many celebrities who are talking about marriage and motherhood and work and life and balance. But here you're listening to it from a coach who's doing this day on day, who's talking to women, who's been there, done that. So there's no reason for you to now sit back and wonder if and how you can get back to work. Please start putting pen to paper and get back to work with Mission 100K. We're at HerKey and we're waiting for you. Thank you so much, Sakshi, and we hope you have a great life ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have we stopped recording?
I think you can stop recording, Ranjan. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sakshi. I hope we didn't take up a lot of your time, but it was super engaging.
I'm glad you found it engaging. I hope I was not too repetitive, because most of the things are, these are universal truths. I think we just kind of forget them sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree, because even when we're dealing with topics like women returning to work, a lot of the topics themselves are overlapping. So, and they are, I think it's kind of okay to say that sometimes when you reiterate certain things, it just sits better in the head. So thank you for sharing these, valuable advice. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
So the way we'll be doing this is we'll do a bit of an edit to the video to make it presentable on social. We'll share the link with you. It'll be up on our YouTube channel.
Oh, great.
So because this is a longish 30-40 minute video, we'll do like a small teaser that'll go up on our social, and then that'll lead to, the actual video on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted as soon as this is edited, and we'll send it back to you for your quick look. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ashwila.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sakshi. Thanks,
Bye-bye. Really nice connecting with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you very much.